Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buddy Martin Show. We're sorting out some of these technical difficulties tonight. Got the whole gang coming in tonight. Got Franz Beard in the orange and blue room. I've got myself right here. I got Buddy Martin's calling me. I'll get to him as soon as I play this open. We've got Loren Meadows on tonight. We're going to play his trivia because we didn't play his trivia question last night. Hey, if you're watching this show and you're checking it out right now, I want you to do us all a favor and smash that subscribe button right down here. Just subscribe to this channel. It helps us quite a bit, helps us grow an audience. It's good stuff. I really appreciate you all doing that. And it's Thursday before Tennessee, Florida. Yeah, Tennessee, Florida. Biggest game of the weekend, potentially of the year for these Florida Gators. So without much more chagrin, we're going to play this open. We'll be back.
It's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Dilly, Franz Beard. You don't look like Buddy Martin, but that's okay. Can you play Buddy on TV for me, Franz? Francis Beard, are you there? Mr. Franz. Hello, Franz. Francis Beard. Hola, Franz. Franz. All right, Franz is not there either. All right, so as we wait for all these wonderful technical wizards, I call them. They're my technical wizards. I want to play a little bit something special for everybody tonight as you all jump on the show. Buddy's going to get back in. Franz is going to turn on his mic in just a second. We're going to get those things worked out. All these guys are going to come in. It's going to be super cool. But until then, I've got something even cooler. Our own Chris Spears shot some amazing video the other night of the first Won't Back Down of 2023. And at risk of being copyright infringement and going against all things cool, I'm going to play it for you right now because I thought it was pretty awesome. And I think everyone could use a little bit of kick in the arse and get ready. If you're going to the swamp, it's a blue out. It's going to be one hell of a deal. So let me play this for you guys. We'll be right back after this. Hoo-ha. Come on, everybody. Hoo-ha. Pretty good stuff there. Gonna kill it out here, but it's quite the very cool thing that our own Chris Spears shot. We are all very proud of him. It's had, I think, something like, I don't know, 75,000 views on Facebook. It's on YouTube now. If you want to check it out, you can check it out on our own YouTube channel right now. Apparently, we are revenue sharing with Tom Petty's copyright people themselves. So check it out. It's on the Buddy Martin Show. Buddy, hello. Are you
Good stuff. I think the swamp and that right there is going to be the reason why Florida will beat Tennessee on Saturday night because that kind of spirit, and that kind of thing, and they're scared to death of it in Tennessee. I talked to Allie last night, and she had a guy on to ask him what are the big differences, and he said they don't like the swamp. They don't like coming to the swamp.
I don't think anyone does.
Well, Tennessee especially because they haven't won 9 years here.
20 years. They haven't won in 20 years.
Florida's won 9 in a row, is what I meant to say.
Yeah, but they haven't won in 20 years in the swamp. Isn't that right, Francis?
They haven't won since 2003. And that was a game Florida should have won. It was Ron Zook's middle year, and Tennessee won that game, and Florida just didn't look good. The next week, they won at 24-10. That was the last game Ingle Martin ever started, and Florida went with a young man named Chris Leak the rest of the way. He started every football game from the rest of that year, and then for 3 more after. So
that was our brother Ingle, Brenden.
Who?
Ingle, our brother, Ingle Martin.
Oh, Ingle Martin? Was that Uncle Bill?
Ingle. What's up, Francis? How you doing, buddy? You got a little bit psyched on that song. I saw you.
I know.
You got to get a little something going in the blood. You got a little thing happening. It's Florida, Tennessee. Franz, it may not be the old days, but it's starting to feel like it, buddy. Yeah, it is. Come on, man. You know it is.
I've talked to a lot of people who were, if you'd asked them 6 or 7 days ago,
right,
Florida versus Tennessee, they would have said Tennessee kills Florida. 2-3 touchdowns.
Something's happened the last couple of days.
Now people are saying, wait a second. And even the Las Vegas odds makers, that started out at 7.5 points, and it's come down a full point. Let me see what it is tonight.
6.5.
6.5.
That may not seem like much. It's down to 6.
6.
It's down to 6. So it's
by kickoff, it'll be 5 or 5.5. You watch.
It's come down 1.5 points. And the reason I think it's come down 1.5 points has to do with Kingsley Eguakun is going to be playing center. And because he's going to be playing at center, Florida will block the Vols' front line. Here's the other thing, buddy. If Florida can limit those sideline throws, they throw a lot of stuff to the sideline because, as John Adams pointed out the other night, Joe Milton throws a lot of high hard ones over the middle. If he throws high and hard against the Gators over the middle, they're in trouble because I guarantee you there will be some picks. I don't know if you remember this, but Spurrier's second year here was 1991. The Vols come here. And the Vols had a wide receiver named Carl Pickens, who was a first-team All-American.
Good player, really good player.
Was a very good player. And everybody talked about how Carl Pickens was going to single-handedly destroy the Gators. Well, he caught 8 passes for 123 yards, but Florida picked off 3 passes that were heading to him, and Shane Matthews had a really, really good ball game. And Eric Rhett just absolutely in the second half just grinding right up the
middle. He did so many times in the second half.
And then late in the fourth quarter, there was a pass, and Larry Kennedy picks it off 44 yards in the other direction. Florida wins that ball game. The swamp was at its rockin' best. I got to tell you what, it was amazing just how loud it got that night. And I think, Florida went 9-2 the year before, but they lost to Tennessee. They lost to Florida State. When Florida beat Tennessee that game, I think that's when people really started believing that Steve Spurrier was going to win championships here, because we had seen 9-1-1 and close but no cigar. We had seen all those wait till next year Gators where we were ever so close, and then we have 4th and dumb, or we had the Georgia game in 66 where nothing went right for Spurrier. And I think that was the first time, I really believe it, that was the first time that people started walking away thinking, you know something? We got ourselves one whale of a football coach here.
Yeah, it's true. And by the way, Dan Bond makes a good point. Tennessee has 28 kids from Georgia and 4 from Florida, including Joe Milton. So humidity shouldn't be a problem there. Look, this is a game that can be Florida's. It's there for the taking. We know, look, Tennessee is not the same Tennessee as last year. I mean, obviously, they had the guy last year pulling the trigger. It was Hendon Hooker was a special player. So I don't know enough about Tennessee because I only seen them once to make a statement, but they obviously didn't play well when they're only leading by 23 to 13 last week.
There's actually clean ones in there.
guess
Julie
bad-
cleaned everything.
Whenever Hooker was a terrific player, I'm just saying, and that he's gone, and Milton's no Hooker, no pun intended. So I don't know that Tennessee is that good. I think Florida is a little better, and so I don't go off last year, but I just have a feeling, and I go by feelings in these games, that this is going to be a game that will help Billy Napier turn the program almost not around completely, but go the right direction. Because the team was a lot better team we saw last weekend. I know it was who it was, McNeese State. But I looked at the way of execution. I looked at the way the routes were run. I looked at the way the blocking went. I looked at the way the quarterbacks dropped back. I looked at a lot of details on special teams. They were vastly improved. And if they had played that way in Utah, probably would have won the game. So I think this team has got a very good chance of righting itself. If that happens, they get to that 7 or 8 win the season. All is not lost. So I'm pretty optimistic about this.
Well, buddy, it goes back to what I was just talking about. When Spurrier beat Tennessee in the swamp, I think that's when the last remaining doubters converted. You were here that year. You know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
If Billy Napier beats Tennessee Saturday night, I think the naysayers are going to be a lot fewer and farther between.
Yeah.
I sense a real confidence in him. He was last night when he was in front of the media. This is a guy that is, if he's phased at all by Tennessee, he does one of the great jobs of hiding it. He was more relaxed than I've seen him all year.
So you think he's confident he can win the game, right?
I think he believes that he's got a team that can win. Now, let's qualify one thing here. Florida's margin for error is a lot less than Tennessee's. Tennessee has more of a margin for error, and I think that's because they have more experience in some key places. But if the Gators can get off to a good start, I think that Billy said it on Monday. He said the key is going to be first down. And Florida can move those chains on first down 4 or 5 yards and avoid 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8. Be in that situation where it's a run pass on 2nd down. I think the Gators are going to have a really, really good chance to keep the Vols on their heels the entire night.
Robert Turner makes a good point here. I think he's right. I think defense and turnovers are one of the big keys. They got to get some turnovers. They can pick Milton and get a fumble. It would make give Burt some field position. It would be a massive difference, Brenden, if they could get some turnovers. They need some game-changing plays. And I think that defense, it's got the ability to do that. I think they're beginning to learn it now. I like the way he's calling the game. And I think that I believe that his impact will be felt.
Yeah. Well, I was just playing a little Austin P Tennessee highlights on YouTube in the background while we're talking.
Yeah,
just 'cause,
23-13 in the third quarter, wasn't it?
yeah. Well, we're just letting this play in the background a little bit, but this is Austin P Tennessee last weekend, and there's a bunch of highlights, so we can sort of chat. But yeah, I mean, look, I've talked about it all week. I think I'm sort of still in the same camp. Maybe I'm just, I want the Gators to win. Obviously, I'm pulling for the Gators every time to win the game, but I'm also nervous, right? So I think I get a little bit nervous about, if which team comes out, because it's a 50-50 at this point. I like to believe that the Gators are ready, that they fix the problems, that they're going to line up on sides, but hey, look, they're going to be throwing a lot more offensive wrinkles and packages that they were doing against Utah. We're going to see a lot more of those things that they struggled with. That does make me nervous. I don't think Tennessee is Tennessee of last year, but
no doubt.
I do. If I put coach to coach, I really like Heupel. I think Josh Heupel's pretty darn good coach. And he's coached up Tennessee to be in the conversation last year, and so I sort of I wonder, sometimes is Billy the same coach? I don't know. Again, the biggest factor in this entire deal is the swamp, and I think that's what you're going to see. It's even what old hater Dan Mullen had to say. It's 88,000 people in your ear. I think Milton's proven to be not the quarterback when he's, in the past, when he's got, any sort of distraction. I think that's where he struggles quite a bit. I don't think he's found any of his, stride this year whatsoever. I don't think we've seen Tennessee sort of click what everyone's talking. I think everyone was talking about seeing Milton as being in the Heisman conversation come, late October. Well, we certainly haven't seen that from the guy. He's an AR type athlete, and he's got it sort of like, up here, he seems to be not clicked it all together. Now, look, if they put it all together and you get guys like Squirrel White running down, streaking down the sideline, and you get Milton that can hook up with them, I think Florida's secondary could struggle with that. Yeah. These are all what ifs, right? And it's also what team's going to show up for the Florida Gators and for Tennessee, because I think they're both really unproven this year. And obviously, edge goes to Florida because of the swamp. I think you have to go. I think that's what Vegas is seeing, and that's what everyone's sort of been talking about.
Well, Tennessee's still the favorite team. I want to reach you what the HB.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying. But I think that's why you're seeing this. The point spread change, and people start thinking a little bit differently. And so we'll see. It's if Tennessee can take them out of the game early, that's going to be the key, just like on any road game for any road team. So.
Let me put it this way, it's going to be 86 degrees at game time. Okay. There's 97 here today in Gainesville. And at 7:00 outside, it was 87. And the humidity was high.
It was bad.
1999, Tennessee comes here. They've got Phil Fulmer. He had an ice truck. Believe it or not, somebody, there were rumors that somebody had lost the recipe to the ice and they were out of ice in Tennessee. But fortunately, we had some here, and they had blowers on the sidelines, misting things and everything, and they still melted in the heat here. If we had played them in 2001 in September, when we should have, on September 11th, that day was, I think, 98, 99 degrees here, the Vols would have died. They do not handle the heat well here. They never have. And Joe Milton, I know Joe Milton is originally from Pahokee, but he spent his last 2 years at Olympia Orlando. Yeah. And guess what? He is dumber than any two boxes of rocks on the planet.
Shots fired.
And Florida, I guarantee you this, Florida is going to give him looks that he has never seen before, that he darn sure didn't see out of a bad Virginia team, and he certainly didn't see it out of a D1 AA team. And quite frankly, Austin Peay, he struggled with Austin Peay. He made all the throws to the sidelines, but everything went over the middle, high and hard, and he's going to struggle. I believe, if Florida gets any kind of pass rush, Florida can win this game. And Brenden, you're right about the crowd. The crowd, every time he throws in an incompletion, that crowd needs to amp it up. Every time the Gators stuff a run play, they need to amp it up. This needs to be 1995 all over again. This needs to be 1999 all over again when Alex Brown had his game of the century. And it really needs to be like that because in 99, Tennessee came here and was very, very strongly favored. In Florida, Alex Brown played the game of his life. And that crowd and the heat and everything like that, whoa, what a night that was.
Well, I know a guy that likes to party like it's 1999, and that's this guy right here, Ben Troupe. Ben Troupe, 84 Reasons podcast. Welcome to the Orange and Blue Blood party. What is up, and where's your Braves at?
Listen, I don't got to wear the Braves hat. We already clinched. You guys already know we already won the NL East. I mean, I think we've done it 6 years in a row, but I'm not – see, buddy? I mean, I got baited by Brenden. I'm not going to put
Doesn't
on –
take much for you to start running your mouth.
It's a matter of time.
Listen, at the end of the day, I've always been associated with winners, but I listen, speaking of that 2001 Florida-Tennessee game, that was my sophomore year, and I agree with what Loren said. I agree with what Franz said 100%. We played them in the regular season, we beat them. Because even when we had that makeup game, I mean, Jabbar Gaffney, love him to death, but I saw him do something I've only seen him do one time, and that's drop a touchdown pass. Drop one against Tennessee that game. I mean, Overstreet, Albert Haynesworth. I mean, those guys, they did a defense we never seen. They was all standing up in the A and B gaps, just we couldn't block them. But I will say, when it comes to Florida, Tennessee, Joe Milton did come out and say before the season, we don't lose in Florida. Well, you've never played in Florida, number one. And I think that when you look at what Coach Armstrong has done with his young defense, when you look at, Rob Sale and Billy Napier, that's what it's going to come down to. What play calls are we willing to call? Because our run game is solid. Their run defense is solid. Their passing attack against our young defense, I still like our chances. But if we're willing to open up the offense, it's gonna. I mean, a night game, with a young squad. I know Shamar James and Scooby Williams, them boys gonna be raring to go. I really, really do like our chances, only because every time I played Tennessee, back in 2000, 2003, they had some really, really good teams. That's back when Philip Fulmer was at his best, at his height. But the thing about Tennessee that always bothers me is they get notoriety for reasons I'll never understand. Why is Peyton Manning? I was blessed enough to be in this Sports Illustrated greatest of the SEC, right? They got Wilbur Marshall in there. They got obviously Steve Spurrier in there. The greatest quarterback in the SEC. They got Peyton Manning. How was Peyton Manning the greatest when he never won an SEC championship, never beat Florida?
Never beat Florida.
But to me, that just goes to show when people say when you say it's a Florida bias, you might kind of be looking through the wrong glass. I said no. Not only is Peyton Manning not greater than Danny Warford, he ain't greater than Shane. I was at Tennessee and they got a wing for Peyton Manning and they locked the door. They said, "Oh, Ben, you can't go in there, man. That's only for the." I said, "Ain't nothing there but a bunch of yards." Bunch of touchdowns. It ain't. I said, "What are trophies at? What?
Where's the hardware? Where's the hardware?"
And to me, that's crazy, right? But before the season, people said Joe Milton reminds me of Anthony Richardson. No, he don't.
He can't run.
The only thing reminds you is they size. Joe Milton is not as athletic as Anthony Richardson. And just because Joe Milton can throw it a mile, Jamarcus Russell can throw it a mile. And I just think that for me, I'm looking forward to those. It's one of those games, fellas, that certain games when I played on that next day, Was no you. I mean, usually try to wake up on Sunday and go to church. Some of these games couldn't move. You wake up the next day, you couldn't. I hope it's one of those type of games, only because night games in Florida are special. They're very rare. But my mom says, she says, are they gonna air Florida, Tennessee? They ain't air Florida McNeese. I said, Mama, McNeese, they wasn't gonna air that. I said, but Herb Street and those guys gonna be on the call. That's gonna be that's a new thing now. They do game day.
Game days not gonna be here.
No. They do game day.
Yeah.
So what Herb Street and company do now? They do game day. They do the game. They get on their private jet and they fly to whatever location they're gonna be calling the game. Just like I know, Buddy and friends, when it comes to Herb Street and company, they decide what games they want to do. Do you want to do this game? Nope. You want to do Florida? And this is why I think they want to do Florida, Tennessee, because they know come 2024, who knows? These rivalries are going away.
Yeah.
I wish they weren't. I really, really wish they weren't. But Herb Street and company is saying, dude, you know how special Florida, Tennessee is? You know how prestigious it is? And people say, what's the difference in rivalries that matter and rivalries that don't? Rivalries that matter are nationally known, not just, conference known. Like people say, well, Colorado State is playing Colorado. And respect you, Deion. And when the last time you watched a Colorado game before this year? You didn't. So and I love Deion and what he's doing, but Florida, Tennessee, I'm looking forward to it. I want Graham Mertz to light it up.
Yeah, I'm let that. Yeah.
Well, did anybody ever watch a Colorado State game, much less Colorado?
I did. I covered him some.
You were in exile in Colorado at the time. You were living in exile away from the sunshine and the warm weather.
You ain't been to Colorado, Jack. It's a beautiful state. So
Been there, done that, and for 3 months of the year, I love it. And then it gets winter, and I hate it.
When you start talking about my places I live, friends, you can't tell me what it is. Okay, you defer to me on that. I'll tell you what it's like. There's 2 months a year that you get really bad, and the rest of the year, some of it is beautiful. So anyway, we won't argue. I want to say something.
Buddy, it gets below 32 degrees 10 months of the year.
So sometimes people like cold weather. That's why they like to ski. You can't ski in Florida. It's just underwater. So the deal is, I want to talk about
the weather.
I've been trying to talk about this for the last 15 minutes, and I can't seem to get it in. I don't know. I guess it's my show. I'm not sure. Anyway, I want to go back to Spurrier when he was on the show the other night. And he was talking about Florida, Tennessee, and he was asked for an evaluation of this game. Now, look, he's not going to give you the absolute, but he made a point here in a simple way I think is important. And being listened up, we asked him about, Brenden asked him about this whole thing with the game and stuff. And he says, this is simply, at first it sounds like it's not much. I think the team that plays the best and the coaches that coach the best will win the game. Talent-wise, they're about even, and Tennessee has not been all that impressive. And I wouldn't say we have been either. So that's just average, right? But he says, I believe it's a toss-up game, and we got an excellent chance to beat these guys. We got to play better than them, and we got to coach better. Now, that doesn't sound like much of an analysis, but it is simply the truth. That's really what you have to do. So when Spurrier says it sounds so simple and like easy, but, it isn't easy. I think this is a big, big time statement game for Billy Napier, because if he doesn't win this game, the Wolves are going to be at the door. It's going to happen, and big money people are going to say, well, we can't win with this guy, and now the money starts drying up. So anyway, it's really big. It's a bigger game than we thought it was going to be, friends. It's more important than we thought it was going to be. I hope we see some of the old days, the spice and we used to have this great matchup. I think Florida and the Swamp will make. I think the Swamp gives them a big edge. So right now, I'm going with Florida in this game.
Buddy, I'll tell you another thing. In one respect, this reminds me of, and 1999, Florida had just beaten Kentucky. Kyle Trask had just come through with a miracle fourth quarter at Kentucky. And we come here the next weekend, we're playing Auburn, and Auburn is very, very highly regarded. The people at the Swamp showed up. And if you remember, like the first play of the game, Freddie Swain down the middle for like 60 something yards. And that's the game when we all of a sudden said, hey, I guess this Trask kid really is good.
Mm-hmm.
We've been hearing from Shane and other people for years that he was far better than F squared. And by gosh, you know, other than the heave to cleave, nobody will remember what Felipe did. But I guarantee you can ask Gators anywhere, and they remember from that Auburn game onward, they remember what Trask did. But that crowd, from the moment the Gators got that first big play, that crowd took over that ball game. Buddy and I were sitting there in that press box that game, and I promise you we both had problems. Just we're that far apart, and we had problems hearing each other. That's how loud it was.
Yeah, Ben was the greatest. Which was your greatest game against Tennessee? This most memorable moment for you?
Oh man, right? We we got Tennessee. I mean, that unfortunately, 2003 was the last time Tennessee beat Florida at Florida my senior year. And the thing about that game was, it was a back and forth type thing. Like it was a back and forth affair. And, we wasn't really getting our footing. And all of a sudden, Ingle Martin was starting. I mean, this was before Chris Leak actually starting that year. And we just couldn't get our footing. And, it's something Ron Zook said, man. We come to the sideline, we call a timeout. It's like a basketball with one team scoring, the other team can't. The opposing team just called a timeout. He called a timeout. And he did something Ron Zook don't do. He said, fellas, just breathe, man. Like, just breathe. Because sometimes – coaches got to understand players better than we know ourselves. Like, I know you just read what Coach Spurrier said. That's how he coached. People think Coach Spurrier was this rah-rah. He gave it to you simple and plain. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing about it is Spurrier never talked about winning. All Zook did is talked about winning, right? And I'm not saying either one's philosophy was wrong or right. I'm just saying a coach got to know when to take the governor off. Because I said it before. I think before that, we was kind of trying to let the game come to us. And I told Mike Zombrek, I said, Coach Z, it is not your job to hold us back, man. Meaning, if I'm not good enough or we're not good enough, I can live with it. But I don't like after games when coaches say, man, we should have opened up the playbook. Well, what are we here for? And to me, it's something Ray Lewis said. I will never ever blame a coach for something a player controls. I control out there between them lines. That don't mean I'm gonna just control the game. And I think what happened was I heard Zook say this. The play was coming in, and I could hear him in Ingle Martin's ear. He said, "Throw it to 8-4." He said, "Because I just throw it to him, right?" And I hear that. To me, I had a like a little corner route on the backside, right? I only supposed to get the ball. He told Inkle to throw me the ball, right? He throws me the ball, and I come out to the tackle. I take it, man. It was nice. It was a nice catch and run. It was about like 30, 40 yards, right? This is what Zook tells me. He goes, if you came out the huddle expecting to get the rock and expecting to make a play, you score. To me, the crowd goes crazy. That's how Zook was, though. He was like, look, man, people, he said, you know why people cheer? Because they don't know what they're looking at. They don't know. Franz know what he's looking at. Buddy know what he's looking at. Brenden know what he's looking at. And I end up having like 100 or some yards that game, right? We lose the game, right? Zook comes to me after the game and says, when I tell you you're good enough is good enough, you ready. And I got it. Because as a player, you think you're good enough is good enough. You think it is. When the coach say you good, you good. Because they know what they're looking at, right? I think this game is one of those games. Like Billy Napier, Rob said, they don't hold the offense back. We the only offense in the history of offenses that will take a snap and throw it straight out to a receiver, and all he did is turn and catch. That's not a play. If I just turn, you do that when it's one-on-one, and that's T.O. out there. You could do that to him. Give them boys a chance to go out there. Because to me, what bothers us is what we're looking at. It's like this. It's 3rd and 6, and you go, what kind of play call is that? And we can be critical. I just don't want that. So for me, my senior, I had over 100-some yards against Tennessee, but it makes you feel like this when you lose.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't want no big game when we lose. I don't, because they'll say, well, Ben, if you played well. Listen, I remember being in that press conference with y'all. I know Franz probably asked me a question, and I'm doing all I can to hold the tears back, because it's killing me. You know what really killed it? Jeremy Foley comes in front of my freaking locker after the game and say, good job, Ben. Dumb. It's like, I can't shrug him off. That's Jeremy Foley, right? I look up at him, I shake his hand like, yes, sir. And I'm trying to hold it. And
you're dying.
You're dying.
Yeah, you're dying.
And that water, because at the end of the day, buddy, man, I understood. It took me 3 years to understood, man, this thing is precious, boy. It's like, I ain't have no 5 sacks like Alex Brown. Like, I ain't did nothing like that. But when it's over and you walking away and people saying, hey, man, how you feel about them Tennessee boys? I said, I love them and I hate them. I hate them because they got the wrong colors on. I love them because they brought out the best of me. When I get drafted by the Tennessee Titans, as a top rookie at the Millennium Max Warehouse, before I signed for any money, my roommate was a starting fullback for Tennessee named Troy Fleming. We almost fought. Because number one, I'm thinking he in the wrong room. He knocked on the door. I'm in there earlier than him. He stick his foot in the door because I'm going to close it on him. And I wasn't going to bring it up. He comes in, he puts his stuff down. He looks at me and says, how that L tastes? And we almost stressed. Mind you, in the NFL, we done made it. When he said, how does that L taste? I was going to fight him straight up because I don't like him. I ain't like Albert Haynesworth. I don't like Travis Henry. I don't like none of them boys. Alvin Kamara, all of them. That is the ugliest orange I ever seen.
I believe you're calling out. You're calling out Tennessee again, man. You're calling out Tennessee, and I love it. I love it. Call them out. Come on.
There's never think about this. You know what? Troy Fleming told me. Troy Fleming looked at me and said, "You think our orange is ugly?" I said, "Is that a real question?" He said, "You think our orange?" I said, "Are you implying that our orange ain't better than y'all's?" He goes, "Orange and blue don't even go together." I said, "Y'all orange is so ugly. They just gave y'all white. They didn't even want to pair it with another color." Anyway,
listen, he's getting his game face on. He's ready to go.
I would say that. Yeah. I respect them, man. I respect Tennessee, but the whole thing about it is, I said, y'all got checkerboard end zones. Y'all got like a scraggly looking dog named Smokey. You know, I mean, y'all. It's like y'all greatest coach became the AD. Y'all just, you know, it's just like. But I just want us to win. I want us to win every game. But it's like with Tennessee, it's different. Because we're a couple of years removed from them boys having to scratch and claw to beat Vanderbilt. Now all of a sudden, since Josh Hype were there, they come on, bro.
What they call it, congregation saying, Perry Mason, preach it, Ben. David Arnold says, church, Ben.
Josh Hype
says, the congregation is hollering at you, preach, Ben. Now we got to go to break.
See this right here?
Yeah.
This look like Tennessee Vols on. This is a meter that test what type of precipitation outside. There ain't never been a child in his life that said, "What do you want for Christmas, sweetie?" I want a Tennessee Vols jersey. No one says that.
I want to Philip Fulmer on the back of my shirt. That's what I want to do.
Hey, we're late going to break.
I want to get coached by Bruce Pearl. I'm the almost team. We almost made it to Omaha. Man, anyway.
Good stuff, man.
I just want them boys to win it only because I want them to have memories that don't end in losses. Like I wanted to, man, I remember when they came in here thinking they was gonna beat us. Because listen, Reggie White, the great Reggie White in 2002 at Tennessee, he was at the game. Talking about this could be the year. Oh yeah. And we beat them.
Perry Mason says, let's see, Perry Mason says, somebody called the fire department to cool down Ben.
No, none of that. Listen. I want to be that historian like Franz Beard. Like I said, 2001, and I know we just, had the anniversary. I'm a sophomore in college. That was one of the worst days of America's existence. I'm just telling. Listen, them boys better be lucky. If we play them that weekend, I don't know if we win the national championship.
I wrote about it today. That's game.
I don't know if we win the national championship.
They would have won the conference championship. I believe Grossman would have won the Heisman Trophy. A lot of things happened because of that fate. All right, Brenden wants to go to break here. Meldon Law, where
Yep.
you matter most, don't back down.
Back to Swamp Kings, I think I was impressed. I really didn't understand how hard he worked, how hard Urban Meyer worked at getting that team ready to compete in the SEC and on a national stage.
You think maybe Gator fans will value their championship legacy just a little bit more now?
I hope so. I never got it. I didn't understand why people didn't say, take Urban at his word when he said he was really sick. I understand that he went back, to Ohio State, but he did take a year off and do his ESPN thing. And, it's in your blood when you're a college coach. It's almost like you're willing to sacrifice your life in order to have the ability to lead a team to a national championship.
No doubt. I'm going to issue an invitation to you right now. Urban's coming to Gainesville the week of Vanderbilt. And I'm going to take him out to Spurrier's for bite to eat, and you're invited. How's that sound?
I would love to do that. I actually, his daughters both won the Meldon Law TV 20 Scholar Athlete.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And so we got to know the family a little then. And, I'll tell you, Urban really should be admired by Gator fans, and they should understand that he was here for 6 years? 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
6 years. Nowadays, that's a long time in a coach's career, right?
Exactly right.
They're like, oh, he jilted us. It was like, my girlfriend dumped me,
Oh, Jeffrey Meldon, we talk over those 5 minutes. You never mentioned law one time.
Yeah. So anyhow, we are really excited at Meldon Law. We've been getting a lot of calls from people who already have cases that are asking us for second opinions.
Yeah.
And
I want to talk to you about that next time we're on the air.
Loren Meadows here with Gator Bait Media, coming to you live from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill with Tuesday Night Trivia. Of the top 10 offensive performances in total yards in Florida's single game history, what player has 2 of the 10? Be the first to answer, and you'll be entered into our monthly drawing for swag and other prizes from Gator Bait and Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. With Tuesday Night Trivia, this is Loren Meadows.
Now, I feel like we didn't do that, Loren. We didn't do that the other night. And
no, we didn't.
I want to welcome Loren into the show.
I thought this was Thursday. I thought I got the whole thing wrong. It's Tuesday.
No, we were having such a great show.
Okay.
That we blew past it, and I wanted to make sure we get it.
It don't matter. His Thursday, Tuesday, whatever day of week it is. Hello, Loren. How you doing?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good. Good. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, guys, I wanted to bring up a little bit of a semblance to this whole show here, as I wanted to talk about, since we're talking about rivalries, and if Billy is to struggle in this rivalry, he's going, and Florida's not to win. 0-6 for Billy Napier against rival teams in 2 years. How does that sit, say, with a guy like Ben Troupe? I know I talked to the rest of you guys. Ben, we always talk about at Florida, you got to win your rivalry game. You may not be that great, but you got to beat your rivals. Is that how it's always been? How you always felt? Oh,
Mike's
yep. Ben, your mic's muted.
Sorry about that. That is how it is, but I got to make sure I be able to put things in perspective. I mean, the thing about a guy like Billy Napier is, I'm gonna keep on saying this. What people saw in Swamp Kings, what you saw in real time. That's what culture. That's what it takes to build it. You got to see it. I get it. It worked. But every team has to do that. So Billy Napier, up until now, he hasn't given, the onlookers, Gator Nation, a chance to say he's the guy. But at the end of the day, I still think I believe in what he's doing. And, that's why you got to go back and look at all those games. Were those games blowouts? No. Did he have a chance to win some of those games? Yep. Did he come out on the losing end? Yep. But I think for a guy like Billy Napier, no matter what, every game, whether it's Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Mizzou, Georgia, it's going to be a big one. Everyone's going to be a big one for him, definitely in the SEC. So I'm not giving him a pass by no means, by no stretch. But I do know if it wasn't no life in all those losses, I get it. Like if it wasn't nothing to pull from to say, man, you know, it would be a different story for me. And like I said, nobody's feeling it more than him. Nobody. I don't. They always do this when coaches go to Florida. Look at year 1 and look at year 5. Look how much they age with all that stuff. And like I said, Billy Napier, man, he ain't that many years older than me, man. It's just the fact that he's the head coach of Florida, and I get to analyze him. I am not giving him a pass, Brenden. It is hard to watch. It really is. Kentucky, Kentucky, and you talk about Vanderbilt, you talk about LSU. That stuff hard to watch. But this is the greatest resume builder in life. All that stuff goes away if he gets a dub. Like, I know it ramps up another week, but Billy Napier, up until this point, he don't know what it feels like to have a big win. Like, not like this one. So maybe it'll steamroll it. I mean, I remember it wasn't Tennessee, but I remember a certain coach and a certain quarterback on, Saturday night that was playing Ole Miss. We went all orange, right? Who knows what would have happened? It's all momentum driven. And I just think for a guy like Billy Napier, not to compare him to, it's real similar to like a Ron Zook. Even though Ron Zook coached in Florida before, you got to prove to the fan base that you're worthy, which I think he is. But I think these players are saying, dude, we got to help him. I'm sick. Bro, we got to help this dude. Cause if not, man, once it started getting real, which it ain't got real bad yet. I just think that them players, hopefully they go out there and get a big dub for him. Because like I said, I mean, Ron Zook beat Florida State at Florida State. Problem is he lost to Mississippi State that year. You can't keep your job like that. I don't think Ron Zook I don't think Napier's on the hot seat, but he got to get a dub, man. Because optimism becomes real life real quick if you ain't getting no dub. So hopefully he'll get one. And like I said, it's hard to watch. I ain't going to sit here and say, listen, what I really, 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 really want to say, I turn the camera off and say it. Because me being a former player, I got to understand that my words hold weight in a different way. So even if I'm being truthful and honest, if I say the wrong thing, it's going to be blasted. So I just got to make sure that I'm careful with my words. I'm not afraid to say what needs to be said. But if it wasn't nothing to pull from last year, I'm like, hey, man, this ain't going to work. Franz Beard ain't finna lie for him. Buddy's show ain't finna lie for him. And Loren, he's been right there too. He got to get a dub because at a certain point, you are what the tape says you are. And at a certain point, you are what the tape says. And up until now, we've had some good tape, but it's too much bad tape to go with it. Hopefully, man, I'd rather have an ugly win on Saturday than to play well and lose. Just give me that ugly dub and hopefully, man, it'll streamroll. Unfortunately, we have a real schedule in the Gainesville. Whoever make our schedule really give us a schedule. Whoever make the schedule in Athens, well, that's a total different thing.
That's a whole other subject. That's a whole program right there.
I'm just saying.
I know you're right. You're absolutely right. I get it. I wanted to get Loren. Whoops.
Uh-oh, what's that?
You got an alarm going on. I'll let you guys take it. Go ahead.
Uh-oh. Man down. I didn't do it this time. That sounds like the horn. Okay, look, as Buddy fixes his alarm, it's like Buddy got the horn. He's having a rough night. This is one of those nights. You got the thunder and lightning rolling in here. Franz, I wanted to get your take on that. You have all vast knowledge of all things Gator sports and as far as statistically and everything else. You and I have always talked about you got to win your rivalry games. If Billy dumps, because this is what Feinbaum was saying, by the way, which I want to get to what else Feinbaum was saying, he says if Billy doesn't win this game, he's on the hot seat, which I think we all don't think that. No. But, Gator fans is going to, because now there's a lot of buildup. People watching us, people watching their shows, all that stuff. If he goes out and gets a blowout and they're 0-6 in rivalries, is he on the hot seat or no?
Well, for one thing, he'd only be 0-4 because they still got 2 to go. Okay, you still got to play. You still got to play Georgia. Still got to play FSU. So
he'll be 0-6 for 2 years if he loses.
Yeah,
this game.
if he loses the next two, but after this game, he'd be 0-4. So, yeah, you still got to play Georgia. You still got to play FSU. He's only been here 1 year, right?
Yeah, but I think if he loses tomorrow, it's you consider Georgia, Tennessee. I guess you don't consider Kentucky. You don't consider
rivalry games of Georgia, Tennessee,
Florida State,
and FSU. Those are the 3 games Urban said.
Well, okay, so you're not going to be
as
right,
the rivalry
okay,
game.
I get you. I guess okay, but Georgia's a loss. I mean, come on, you're going to lose to Georgia, and you're not maybe Franz. Come on.
Okay,
I don't know you beat
stuff
Georgia.
Can happen between now and then.
Okay, I hear you. But I'm going to say that we'll see about it. Look, let's get past Tennessee. All right, I get it. 0-4, right? I was counting the other 2 losses.
September yet, so I don't even want to talk about what's going to happen then, because I'm not sold on Georgia being as dominant as they said. Now they could prove that differently this week with a win at against South Carolina, and they could blow their doors off. But you got to remember something. South Carolina played Tennessee a year ago after getting their doors blown off by Florida, and they went out there and went into a coma and won that game.
Yeah, 8 wins.
So stuff can happen in football. Right now, the focus has got to be on this game. Billy will not be on the hot seat, period. Even if he loses to Tennessee, even if he loses to Georgia, even if he loses to FSU. Now, next year, if he's 0-9 coming into November and December, then we can talk. But right now, he's nowhere near it. Florida, as Scott Strickland has told me, we are not going to have a revolving door for head coaches. Billy Napier is the 6th head coach since Steve Spurrier resigned. And you can't have that. Not at a place like Florida. There's no reason to have that at a place like Florida. Why is Alabama so good for the last several years? Well, look, they got one coach in there running his system, and he keeps bringing in new offensive coordinators, new defensive coordinators, new everything. They keep running the same system, and guess what? They keep winning a lot of ball games. Kirby Smart, been at Georgia now 7 years. And what did he do? He got off to a rotten start. You got to admit, he was 7-6 that first year. And you had people wondering, why the hell did we run Mark Richt off? But look what's happened since then. Same system, same, doesn't matter. New coaches come, old coaches go, whatever. You keep doing it. You keep the system sound. And Florida has not kept its system in place. We've had, since Spurrier, you had Zook. Zook came in with his new system. 3 years, he's gone. Urban comes in. For 6 years, we get a good system coming in, but he's gone. And since then, Will Muschamp, who was clueless offensively, Old Yeller, who got paid $4 million and couldn't whiten his teeth, and then Dan Mullen, who couldn't recruit or wouldn't recruit. I don't know whether he could or couldn't, but I know he didn't. And now we got a coach in here who's rebuilding it from the ground up. At some point in time, you got to get a foundation in place. That's what's going to happen. And if Florida beats Tennessee, we have added a whole new wall to that foundation. We have double bricked it. You know what? You know how it goes. Ben, you grew up in the old South where tornadoes come in, and those houses that had double brick foundations, they stood up even when they may have got their roof blown off, but the rest of the house stood up when the tornadoes came. Wow. I've been in the old South all my life, and I know what it means to double brick a foundation. And this is what Billy Napier's doing. He's double bricking that foundation. And look at the guys they're recruiting. Has anybody seen the stats DJ Lagway has been throwing up?
Oh, he's going nuts.
I mean, they're bringing in a stud 5-star quarterback who's like a Pied Piper, a lot like a guy named Chris Leak was, a lot like a guy like Tim Tebow was. And the foundation is going to grow. Now, people are going to be pissed off if Florida loses. I think Florida's going to win this game. I've got to, if you'd asked me last week, I would have said no. Based on what I saw against McNeese, it was McNeese, but I didn't see the mental errors. I saw a team come out there focused, even against a team they should have been overconfident against. They came out there focused, and they played them as if they were playing somebody good. And they come out there, they did it. This week, they're calm, they're focused. I think it's going to be a really good Florida football team that goes out there.
All right, I got you. All right, first of all, and LSU, by the way, got to consider them rivals. No, I mean, got to consider LSU a rival. I know we didn't throw that in the mix, so
I'd say yes.
All right, so the LSU is definitely a rival. So, all right, so Loren, you and I have been talking via text all week about a lot of stuff. We went to Salt Lake, whatever. Where are you at right now? I want to know where Loren Meadows is at. I want to know. I'm kind of curious as to what you got to say about.
I think he's in Bronson.
I want to know where you're at with this game, and I think, buddy, is it time to do some picks because it's a couple minutes. I think we'd like to do some picks. So, Loren, why don't you give me a little take on where you think the game's going to go tomorrow, and give me your pick. But comment to me about, first of all, if Billy and the boys don't win on Saturday, is Billy on the hot seat?
Well, to remain consistent like I always am, like I said the other day when we talked on Tuesday, it would not be good if he loses. He is not. I mean, when you say hot seat about being fired, there's absolutely no way that he's going to be fired. I think he'll be the Florida coach, if not next year, but the year after that as well, no matter really what happens, unless it's just absolutely atrocious.
Agreed.
Which I don't think it will be. There are some things in place that would make you think that at some point in time it's going to improve. But as you and I have talked, Brenden, and really I've talked to really all you guys in some way, shape, or form, it's just there's times where it looks really good and you see it and you're like, wow, there's something there. But then when it's bad, it's like head scratchingly bad. So with that said, though, if the Gators can come in, I thought the game plan was very good against McNeese State, whether they were playing McNeese State or whether they were playing Tennessee. I thought that they had some creativity on offense. I thought schematically they did some things really well. They ran the football a little better just from the sets. I thought they spread McNeese out where it's like they were trying to play Utah in a phone booth. And, I do think that the Gators will play. I guess maybe this game is more about what the Florida Gators, what Tennessee isn't than what the Florida Gators are. And, like Franz said, I'm just not a believer in Joe Milton. Like I said, I keep referencing the fact that Joe Milton can't even remember that he actually lost the last time he played in the swamp. And not only did he lose, but he lost his job as well. So he actually lost twice that night in the swamp.
Great point.
So he does lose in Florida. But, and he's actually lost his job 3 times. So I think, Joe Milton should concentrate on playing football. But I also think that Austin Armstrong, who stood in front of the media and others when he was introduced as the defensive coordinator and expressly said that we will be extremely versatile to handle the diverse offensive concepts that you see in the SEC. And in my mind, I was thinking he's talking about Tennessee. So I think that this is a game that he personally has had scheduled on his docket for a while. And I think Florida forces a couple turnovers, and that could be the difference in the game. So, I think this will be kind of a game where Florida's defense kind of wins the day for him. I think Graham Mertz will outplay Joe Milton, and I got Florida winning 27-21.
All right. I want to do this, Brenden. I'm going to do this. I'm going to opt out for the final comments. I'll give my minutes to you guys. I just want to get into Titan MRI and then make sure we tell folks how much we appreciate it and give a thanks to Renstar. Titan MRI, worth a short drive to Gainesville. No insurance is no problem. You can pay with cash or card, same day scheduling available. Start feeling better today because Titan MRI is North Central Florida's premier independent MRI facility. Come see why hundreds of patients are visiting our Gainesville sites for locations in Ocala, Marion County, the villages, all points north and west south. TitanMRI.com. All right, guys.
I consider Miami a rival of Florida as well. Florida's got more rivals than anybody in the country.
I feel like
they got
Auburn's a rival.
6 rivals. Yeah,
yeah,
they're all rivals.
Okay. Yeah, they're all right. All right, bud. Are you tipping out? Is that it?
Yeah.
No prediction from you?
No, I was going to say I take Florida. Florida to win this game. I'm going to go with a little bit of a higher score. I'm going to go 31-28 Florida.
All right. Buddy Martin out. Okay, so there you go. Franz, I'm going to go with your pick next.
I like the Gators winning this game, and I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as a lot of people might think it could be, because I think the Gators are going to run the football and run the clock. I think this is going to be one of these games where I'd like to see the Gators get 5 really good long possessions in that. We got to remember something. The other night, 6 touchdowns with Mertz at quarterback, 56 plays. That's 9+ plays per drive, 456 yards. That's a lot of yards on there, 80-something yards per drive. Florida can and will move the football on the Vols, and they're going to play defense with their offense. I like it. Florida 24, Tennessee 20.
All right. That's what we got. So we got 2 picks for Florida. Ben Troupe.
Yeah, I mean, I agree a lot with what Franz just said. I think this is going to be a game where they're going to be able to showcase more balance on offense, with it being more 60-40 with run pass. I think they're going to be able to open up the passing game with Pearsall and Wilson and Douglas and company. I think that the defense is going to force Joe Milton into some bad throws because he's going to see orange. It's just going to be the wrong color orange. Give me 24-17 Florida. I think it's going to be a good game, but Joe Milton, sir, I mean, you really going to say what you said? I like what you said, though, Loren. Boy, you lost your job. You lost the game, went to another school, lost it. Stop it. Joe Milton, look, listen, man, I mean, you look like Adonis, right? I mean, I'm just saying but I'm just, at the end of the day, everybody got a weakness. I got Florida 24-17. I think it's going to be a good one, though, but and listen, I want to see that Will Muschamp meme come up. All these people, even though these people going to be happy, them boys wearing that creamsicle. Hopefully they wear white, because I don't want to see all that creamsicle. So
I thought they raised them more humble in the muck than Joe Milton.
Listen, when it comes to the muck, though, Lord, listen, I said there's a long way. There's a long way from you putting that rabbit on the ground and you catching him on Joe Milton. And he's the only person that got blonde dreads. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you.
He the last 2 years at Olympia in Orlando.
That's true.
He tries to tell everybody that he's from the muck so that people will think that he's actually from a program that actually won some ball games at some point. He went to Olympia. And
I just want to see a good one, friends. But every time I see somebody with blonde hair, I think the same thing. That boy got in a fight with Peroxide and lost. It's all good. It's all good.
Peroxide, baby.
At the end of the day, if you can grow your hair that long, the only thing you're thinking of, I think I need another color. No, you need to get the hell up out this chair and take your behind home, man. I'm not gonna be the barber known for dying. You 6'4", 250 pounds with blonde dreads. Yeah, go to Tennessee with that nonsense, man. We ain't dealing with that stuff down here in GV.
Wow, boy, Ben is fired up tonight. I want to go to the bar with Ben tonight.
Hey, Ben, quick question: wasn't one of your teammates with the Titans, a former defensive end for Tennessee, the same guy that convinced the judge that the girl ran face first into a beer mug 15 times at a Knoxville bar? Ellis, I think his name is. Wasn't that his name?
Oh my God, that was Ellis, man. I'm not Ellis. I'm not gonna let Franz help me throw you under the bus. But listen, if there was ever a person that went to jail for criminal creativity, It will be Ellis. He said it with a straight face too. And then when we saw him, I said, "Listen, man, just take your sentence. Don't even because when you say that kind of stuff, look. At the end of the day, I play with Travis Henry. I play with Albert Haynesworth,
father of our country.
Listen, I play with Troy Fleming. And to this day, I said, if you had to go back and do it all over, I mean, I'm just saying, friends. I asked him, I said, if you had to go back and do it all over again, you still going to Tennessee? They go, yeah. Boy, y'all ain't learned nothing. Boy, you gonna go back to Tennessee
how
again?
many kids did Travis Henry have? 20?
Listen, they set me up.
Oh boy.
Listen, they set me up with Travis Henry.
Okay, calm down.
Calm down. I used to
All right.
Travis Henry. I used to have to block for that man. But at the end of the day, people say, "Hey man, what's handsome?" I go, millions of dollars. You got millions of dollars, boy. You handsome, boy. And they say, "What you mean?" And I say, "Because there are certain players that got a face only a mother can love." I am not gonna say no names. I might not know what attractive is, but I know what unattractive is. I can take what's attractive any day of the week.
All right.
Rough tonight.
You guys are rough crowd.
Hate the ball.
I'm glad we're after 10 o'clock, so I think we're in that safe harbor right now. I love the Gators. Everyone knows that I love the Gators. And I originally thought they would win this game. I guess I just can't get Salt Lake out of my system. I guess I'm just not there yet, as they say. And I think that Tennessee is a little further along as a team and a unit than Florida is right now. And being in the swamp last week, I also see how easily the swamp can get jaded. Because right now everyone's sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop. So I think if Tennessee could come out early and they can get some points on the board and they make Florida go 3 and out, and then Florida's special teams unit comes on the field and does something special and start causing some of these problems, and then they start having issues. I guess I'm not convinced that all of these the house of cards may not come falling down. I'm just not there yet. And I guess, although I see Florida being competitive, I don't see them winning this game. And so I've got, unfortunately, which I rarely sort of do, but I guess now that I'm sort of trying to be like Loren, I'm trying to be a little bit more of a journalistic perspective. And what I think Florida loses this game 33-25. I think Tennessee covers in the points. That's just my opinion. So I guess I'm the outlier on this one, but that's what I'll be pulling for the Gators. I hope I'm coming on here. I hope I come on here and eat crow. I will.
Hold on, to show you what I mean, Brenden. In 2003, LSU won the national championship, right? How many games they lost that year? They lost 1, right? Okay. In 2002, when Mark Richt was supposed to go to the national championship, right? They was a better on paper. They was a better team than us. How many games they lost that year? They lost 1. I'm telling you, you just said something about Tennessee. You said, they convinced. They convinced of what? They don't know what it's like to be in this position. Can they? Because like you say, sustainability is the hardest one there is. I like Hendon Hooker.
I got one thing to say is Josh Heupel's the real deal, and he's a great coach, and I think he's going to have them ready.
Whoa. Josh Heupel is a good coach.
Yeah.
We can't throw that word great around. Great is rare.
They're pretty good last year.
No. Mind you, he's a good coach, right? Great is rare, right? Because the people say Steve Spurrier was a great coach. Urban Meyer was a great coach.
Untested, good coach. I think he's
really good coach.
I think he's done more with this program than Billy's done with his program up into this point.
Well, this is the thing, though. This is the thing. You said the difference a year can make. You said, what if Billy loses? People go crazy. What if Billy wins? Wow. What is Tennessee going to look at? I'm telling you, one difference in a week. We'll see what happens, though. I just think it's going. I just want to see a good game. I
want Billy to win. As a Gator fan, I want Billy to win, but I saw what I saw in Salt Lake, and I guess I'm just not convinced after the Eastern Cowboy blowout. That's just me. And
I'm not there. You was there in person. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I am with Brenden. I mean, I want to put Salt Lake behind me because I think it was like, did we just see what we saw? I mean, we were at like we were at Raising Cane's at like 1 a.m.
It was hard.
Mountain time, and like, what did we? I mean, did we just see that? But I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't think Tennessee is what people think Tennessee is, and I think they're due for that. I think that South Carolina loss that happened last year happened Saturday night against the Gators, and there you go.
All right. Well, listen, we're all on paper. Go ahead, Franz.
It's the swamp. It will be 87 degrees at game time.
I know, but they live in Tennessee. It's not like they live in like California.
They say that every year, and they come down here and they melt in the heat. And Ben, you were there in '99.
Yeah, but they melt because it's usually an afternoon game. It's not. It's a 7 o'clock game. Yeah, but it's not that. It's not that hot. It's not going to be that hot. I just don't think we can put the temperature into this particular game. I wasn't sure. It was, look, my daughter was playing out there tonight in soccer. It came off sweating bullets. I agree. I think it was hot, but it's not like it's 3:30 in like the middle of the afternoon and like 105. I think these guys will be ready for that. Look, we talked about altitude making a difference in Utah, and you know what? It did, because, they're at 3,200 feet, but I just don't feel like Tennessee and Florida and climate, all that is that much of a difference. I think you got humidity there. It gets hot as balls there, man. I mean, it gets hot there. It's a different.
Having been through every Florida Tennessee game at the Swamp since 1991, I can tell you this right now: it does heat up, and it does make a difference. And every time, I've heard that every time. Well, the heat won't get us this year. I mean, they had this one, the '99 team. They came down. They spent a week in Florida to get ready for it. We ran out of ice, and between here and Cedar Key, there wasn't a single bit of ice. They had it all, and they still overheated. And they had said after the game they'd never been that hot, and it was 87 degrees at game time there.
All right. Well, it's the temperature on Saturday is a high of 85 during the day.
They said it was 92 today. It was not that, and they said on the.
You'll be at game time. It'll be about 75. So that's not that hot. Just saying.
Trust me, it will be.
Not gonna. All right. Well, I think if it maybe makes a factor, I don't know about it's going to be the heat. I think it'll be the play on the field, and we all have our opinions. I just like Loren and I were discussing. I guess I just saw. It's like I can't unsee Salt Lake. I can't unsee it. I watched a debacle. I saw it with my own eyes, and I was shocked at what I saw, and I just can't unsee it. I watched it on TV afterwards. It didn't look that bad. It looked way worse when you see the whole field and you just watch it was like Keystone Cops on the sideline, man. No one knew what the hell to do. Everyone was everywhere. Special teams was everywhere. I just feel like you have a lot to solve. That's all I'm saying. I guess that's what I can't unsee from that particular time, because the wide breadth of it all was like literally they were, a high school team on their first game of the year or JV. It just did. I'll never get over the 2 number 3s. These are things that I just can't get out of my head, and I don't think they've had competition anywhere close to that. McNeese State sucks bad. Like, they're not good. They're awful. Like, they're terrible. So, and they got, size wise, it was like 2 to 1 on just like on size wise on the offensive line. And, look, it was a good showing. I thought it was, but we didn't see trips right, trips left. We saw dive left, dive right, sweep left, slant right. We saw a real basic offense. And when Florida lines up with their personnel like they did to go beat a Pac-12 team in Utah, trips left, and they couldn't freaking get on side. They didn't have enough guys on the line of scrimmage. When their red zone offense looks like shit, when Billy's, not calling great plays from the sideline with no offensive coordinator, That's just not fixed. It is not fixed yet in my mind. And that is what's my concern. And I hate to say it because I love the Florida Gators, but I really don't feel like those problems have been sorted out. And that's why I talk about Heupel being, at this particular juncture, is he a better coach? I don't know. I think potato there. I think we're splitting hairs. But I do think his squad is going to be ready. If you don't think he's going to have him ready, then I think, you sort of underestimate it. But, and look, by the way, you had AR last year. You played him close. He's a pretty damn good quarterback. We don't got AR this year, and if you're going to tell me you're going to make, Mertz beat you with the long pass with that offensive line, they're going to load the box and say, look, go ahead and throw the long pass. We'll eat you alive, and there'll be 5 sacks. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that changes the entire complexity of the game. And now you're 2-dimensional. What are you going to do? Oh, hand it off to ETN. Great crush. What's the Pierce is the edge that's got 5 sacks coming out there. He's going to eat someone's lunch. That right side of offensive line is not ready for anything right now. And I just don't think they're there. They're young. They want to run. But, I think the swamp will be a factor as long as until, we could see a la Mertz playing like he played at Wisconsin and start throwing 2 or 3 picks. And this can be a different game. So I guess that's just where I'm at. That's where my head's at with it. I think I'm going to pull for the Gators. I want the Gators to win. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're there yet. And I think Tennessee wins and covers. That's what I think. So I hope I'm on here eating crow, and I'll be at the game.
No, listen. As my granddaddy would say, man, the opening credits of a movie is not going to be how the end is going to look. I agree with everything you're saying, Brenden. But chapter 1 and chapter 2 in the football season ain't got nothing to do with chapter 3. It's going to be a test every single week, and that's what you want, though.
You do.
Because I will say this: I'm not saying it's going to be a huge factor. But Kingsley's gonna be back. I think that's gonna help with the O-line. And I know that Tennessee is lead. Tennessee has the most sacks coming into this game. I get it. But what's gonna happen when the Rabbit got the gun? What's gonna happen with Florida is punching back. I say when it comes to Florida, y'all was right there at it. It don't. What happened, Loren? You've seen it for 2 years. What happened to Florida happens to nobody. When's the last time somebody threw a bomb? First play of the game. I ain't never seen that. Not high school, not middle school. Stuff that happened to Florida happens to nobody.
FSU 1990. Peter Tom Willis back. Casey Weldon back to throw, and Lawrence Dawson first play of the game, 82 yards.
I just wanted to open it up, and at the end of the day, yes, Utah. It was hard to watch it. Y'all were there. That's a long way to go to see that. That was rough. Ain't no other way around it. A lot of people got introduced to alcohol that first game, and rightfully so. It was rough. But at the end of the day, you did what you were supposed to do to McNeese. You only show what I need to show. I'm only going to show what I need to show to beat them. I just want to see them open up. Coach Sam, Coach Napier, hey, man, open this thing up because I'm telling you, I would put Pearsall against any one of them DBs. I really, really would. We'll see, but like I said, I don't like these night games, man, because
I talked to somebody who really knows what's going on, and he said the whole thing. He said the yardage that scoring on all those consecutive plays. That wasn't that had nothing to do with how the coaches evaluated. The coaches evaluated, did you carry out your assignment? Did you go where you were supposed to go? Did you think what you were supposed to think? When you blocked this guy, did you go find the guy on the second level, etc. like that? How many missed tackles did you have? All these things. And that's what they looked at in that McNeese game. They weren't worried about the score. They weren't worried about the other. They were worried about what was going on between here because that's what lost the game at Utah. That game at Utah was lost because of what was between their ears, and they were not ready to play that football game. And that's on Billy. Now, that is on Billy, granted, but what is it Vince Lombardi used to say? The greatest improvement any team ever makes is from week 1 to week 2. So we'll see. Let's see what they do in week 3. I think that Florida can win the game, but I'll close with this because I got to work, guys. Florida has and I said this when we started the show, Florida's margin for error is very, very small. And if the Gators don't get off to a good start, I don't like their chances at all. They've got to have a good first quarter, and they got to have good first downs. And if they come out and they look like a ragtag bunch in the first quarter and they cannot get off the field, it's going to be a very difficult night for them. But if they can establish their tempo and their defensive tone, they got to be the tone setters. I mean, I'd almost say this. They really need a great personal foul. On the
no
first
penalty, Franz. No more
on
penalty.
The first or second possession. I'm talking about somebody going in there with a nice clean hit, but he hits him so hard that the officials think, well, we got to throw the flag because he just hit somebody too hard. Like that one Scooby. I got to tell you what, that hit Scooby Williams had the other night, that was a man-sized hit. And we did not see a single hit like that in 13 games last year. Not a one. That was the first. I sat there and thought to myself, oh my gosh, what's with these guys on defense? Somebody taught them it's okay to go run through a tackle? Because, Ben, you've been on both sides of the ball, and at least in high school, you're taught to run through the ball carrier. And we finally had somebody that ran through the ball carrier. That's why you have broken tackles when you don't run through the ball carrier. So they did those things. Now, if they come out there and they screw up in the first quarter and they blow the game out, then I'm going to be the first one to say, boy, did I get that one wrong. But I don't think they're going to.
All right. He's Franz Beard. You check him out on GatorbaitMedia.com. Senior columnist is the workhorse of the website, writes excellent columns every day called Thoughts of the Day, as many other columns about all sports, but mostly about Florida football. He is an excellent read. Check him out, GatorbaitMedia.com. Fellas, I appreciate you staying on a little bit extra. I know I've taken a lot of heat already and a lot of shade over here in the chat room. Hey, look, I get it. I get it. Don't worry about it. It's all right. Look, I got big shoulders, dog. I got big shoulders. I got big shoulders. I'm 6'4", by the way.
Points too, legitimate points. I mean, you really do.
I hate that I do. I hate that I do. I don't want to have them. But, I am 6'4" with big, broad shoulders. So I probably could have, played some bad football at Troy or something like that. But nonetheless, probably could.
You could have been a polar bear. You could have came on up there with me.
I probably not. I was too interested in the 6-ounce curls and the girls.
Okay.
Look, but I appreciate you all being on tonight and spending a little extra time. I think it will be a good game, if anything. I hope it's a good game, but I do think it's going to be a good game. And I'm hoping for Billy to pull it out. And I would love nothing more to come on here and say, damn, now Billy's in the conversation. SEC's 3-6 this week after last week. It does set the table. The East is wide open. And Kentucky looks okay, so it could there's so much riding on this game. This is the season for Florida in a lot of different ways. This is the season. So it maybe that's why we've literally talked about it for 4 days or whatever. And tomorrow we got Urban Meyer on and we're going to talk about it again. So with that being said, I'll say goodnight to you, Ben Troupe. Hey, Ben Troupe, tell us where they can find 84 Reasons podcast.
Man, anywhere you can hear our podcast, Apple, iTunes, Spotify. You can also see it on YouTube. Just had Brenden Seiler on, just talking about his what he meant to the team. You really check out this latest episode. Brenden Seiler really learned a lot about it, man. Learned that this man has I think he had a 4.2 in high school, 3.8 when he was at Florida. Got his doctor, got like Yale, Harvard, Wharton Business School. Right now, I'm like, dude, who the hell are you, man? Like, I mean, and
that's awesome.
Pretty good football player too. But I do wait for a reason to talk to current, future, and former Florida Gators, whether that's coaches, players, parents, friends. I really been enjoying it. And like I said, man, 84 reasons.
It's a good job.
Hey, man, appreciate it. We're gonna keep
hey, Ben.
Like I say, when you can come over here, when you can come on here and vent the way you just did, that's when I know you're a real Florida fan, sir. When it comes out, like, God dang it, got to let it out. It's like, this is our therapy. It's like, we don't sit on no couch looking up at the ceiling. We go, God dang it, I got to say this. Because if I don't say it, I'm going to go to bed and say, I shouldn't say it. I love you for saying it, sir.
All right, I love you too. Hey, I'm going to come up to Savannah here soon, actually. So if I come up that way, we're going to go out and have an adult beverage. So
listen, at the end of the day, man, I'm gonna make sure two things. You're gonna have some adult beverages in your tummy, and I'm gonna get you home safe. Cause ain't no DUIs with me, baby. It don't happen. You might not remember getting home, but you will. But you will get home. You
Uber, baby. Uber. We'll Uber that. All right, man. He's Ben Troupe. Check him out.
It's the True Family Live and Live.
All right, man. That's right.
Sir.
Ben Troupe, 84 Reasons Podcast. Check him out. Loren Meadows, thanks for your time. He's Loren Meadows. You check him out. He's going to have a good column tomorrow where he breaks down the game. He does it every week. Check it out at GatorbaitMedia.com. Thank you, Loren. I know you struggled all week through this technical stuff, but I really appreciate your perseverance.
Yeah, we got it going. I'm gonna have you up and hook me up.
Actually, I'm gonna come up and fix all this shit for you.
Yeah.
All right, Loren. Thank you very much. All right, well, that does it for me. Buddy thanks to Buddy Martin. Thanks to my daughter Stella, who stayed up a little late because she likes to learn how to do all this production stuff. So Stella, by the way, had a great soccer practice today. Stella plays on the Ocala Premier Soccer League travel soccer team. I do say so myself. It is a pretty serious deal, and she is probably starting this week, I hope. We'll see. What position do you play?
Outside backer midfield.
Outside backer midfield. She is on the Ocala Premier on the Storm, and she's awesome. So, look, family show at the end of the day. We always say go Gators. I always say go Gators. Don't be a hater. And thanks to Franz Beard, and thanks to Loren Meadows, and thanks to Ben Troupe, and thanks to everybody that came on this week. And tomorrow is Best Fridays in Football with Urban Meyer. We're going to record it in the morning, and then we play it back later in the evening. We're going to ask him a lot of questions about this upcoming game. We're going to talk to him about what he thinks about it. And we didn't even get to the thing tonight, which I thought was ridiculous, was Feinbaum talking about how Prime could come be the coach of Florida. I think that's a little bit much. I think he's looking for a little bit of clickbait. Anyway, thanks, everybody. I do appreciate it. I understand all the shade. It's cool. But I really, at the end of the day, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Make sure you tell your friends and family about us, because it makes a difference at the end of the day. Stella, you want to press this button tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, right here. Okay. All right, so press down. Ready? Good night, everybody. Okay, do it. One more time. We always do it. Do it again.